Hey, you busy? Mm-mm. Okay, let me run something past you real quick. Psalms 118, verse 1 NLT version. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His faithful love endures forever. Let all Israel repeat, his faithful love endures forever. Let Aaron's descendants, the priests, repeat, his faithful love endures forever. Let all who fear the Lord repeat, his faithful love endures forever. In my distress I prayed to the Lord, and the Lord answered me and set me free. The Lord is for me, so I will have no fear. What can mere people do to me? Yes, the Lord is for me. He will help me. I will look in triumph at those who hate me. It is better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in people. It is better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in princes. Pause. That's how I'm coming out the gate. With a little bit of King David, talk your talk, sir. And he did. I had an epiphany. The reason as to why the Bible continues to echo, fear not, trust God. He didn't give you the spirit of fear or timidity, but of power, love, and a sound mind. It's all these different descriptors and scriptures that are trying to lead you to a place of not only freedom, but obedience with God. And I feel like the number one to you being obedient to God, for you being encouraged and walking in confidence in what he called you to do, the number one to that is, drumroll please, brrr, bing, fear. And I had to take a page from David because I needed to know how a young boy who sees the 9-foot Goliath, who literally was told by Saul that you can't do it, that was literally embarrassed by his brothers right before he was getting ready to do that courageous thing. Why are you here? Where's your small sheep? That the one that was actually anointed by Samuel in front of all of his brothers when he was an afterthought, his father didn't even think of him enough to be like, yo, I have one more son. Samuel had to go through trial and just trying to see like, yeah, this is not working. Something is off. Do you have any other kids? Like, how come God is not anointing all these other sons that you have? And I thought for sure it would have been the first one that was tall and handsome, or that one who is in shape, or that one who looks like he can fight with his hands real good. And God is not choosing them. Do you have any other sons, Jesse? And he's like, oh yeah, him, the one that does the sheep thing, the shepherd. Yeah, like him. And I had to go into the archives and look at the arsenal that David has. What made him so brave? What made him so courageous? What made him so just obedient without any second thought? Like, I'm going to go ahead and kill this Philistine. Like, what was it? And I realized that the bravery that we admire, the courage that we aspire to have came from one thing. He trusted God. He trusted God. What was the difference between Saul and his brothers that were in the army? They were trapped by fear. So wait a minute. The secret sauce all along was, I trust God. And so if I trust God, then I'm not afraid of what's going to happen. If I trust God, then I'm not afraid what people can do. If I trust God, I'm going to put my trust in the one who created people than for me to yield to people. Like, imagine that. Imagine me yielding to creation when I have the connection to the creator of all of this. You think I'm going to tell y'all yes and him no? You think I'm going to go ahead and walk in disobedience with him so I can walk in community with y'all? Like, y'all can all have a nice day. At the end of the day, trust will take you way further than your compliance ever will. Because everywhere that you step, you're telling someone yes and you're telling someone else no. And I would hope, and it would behoove, that God is not on the receiving end of your no. I had a revelation yesterday. I was looking at this sermon and my heart was pricked. And the translation that I received, the interpretation that was downloaded into me was, It came in question form. Why was I doing the things that I was doing prior to the season that I'm currently in? So the season that I'm currently in feels a lot like God is unlocking new levels of freedom, which is literally him going into perspectives, mindsets, ways of doing things, and he's rewriting the way that it should have been, because the way that I'm doing it is not yielding to what he wants in my life. So he's changed the way that I see success. He's changed and re-identified the way that I see family. He's changed the way that I've seen, okay, go getting and grinding and all these other things. And it's like, oh, here I am on path A thinking that it leads to all things awesome. And God is like, absolutely not. I told you to be in this world, but not of it. I told you to live here, but don't look like them. I told you to remain a foreigner and you got real familiar. Like that wasn't what you were supposed to do. So I have given God the space to eliminate and erase whatever doesn't align with him. Point blank, the period. We are not in the season where we're trying to go ahead and wrestle with God. Why, how, who? Not me. Not doing it. And I sat there for a while after listening to the sermon and questioning myself. And I said, oh my gosh, most of the things that I was doing was not only fueled by fear, but it was built on it. I had a very, very, very tumultuous, I would like to call it, childhood. I had an extremely strict mother who literally led and parented through the vein of fear. I knew that the repercussion of not doing what she said, how she said it, the way that she wanted it, when she said to do it, if I didn't have this militant way of dotting my I's and crossing my T's, then it was going to be hockey sticks. It was going to be heck to pay. You understand? I was going to feel literally, physically, emotionally, mentally, every piece of her dissatisfaction. So a lot of my survival skills came from appeasing her. It came from making sure I stayed out of her way, making sure that I didn't ruffle any feathers, making sure that I didn't challenge too much, because it is hilarious to me that God has built this advocate in me that I don't do well with bullies and I don't do well with people who are undermined and not heard and not valued. And a lot of that has come from my childhood, but it's amazing that God was able to still guard that, curate that, and not break that in me, because I had someone who had that particular assignment. Just something as simple as wanting to go to college at night. It didn't make sense to her. So the threat was, if when the first set of grades came out, if it didn't look according to her standard, then I was going to go to school in the morning, period. Nothing else to talk about. Well, guess what I did? I hit the ground running. And I got on the dean's list. And I got on the best. I'm talking about, I was like, this is going to be the best year that I've ever had since ever being in school. In preschool, they going to know that I was here. I'm getting all the help. I'm not good at math, and y'all making me take math in college. Guess what? I'm getting tutors. I'm doing everything that I need to do. And I was building all of that success in fear. Then, when it was time for me to get my first jobs, I wanted to maintain a level of independence from her. And so I was doing whatever the job or the supervisor said to do. Y'all giving unfair quotas, y'all giving unfair work environments, y'all giving unstable hours, y'all, whatever you need me to do more, be more, so that I can maintain this particular job, so I can maintain this steady level of income, so that I don't have to go back, do it. So I'm doing everything, and I'm getting nervous, and I'm making sure that I'm on time. And I had a real bad time management thing that was happening. So I was struggling with that, because again, I wasn't a morning baby. So I literally was like, ooh, okay, y'all want me to be where? And I got to drive here. And now I got to try to figure out how to be a grown up, and all the while keeping my independence so that I don't have to be dependent on someone who crushes me. Building on fear, fueled and running in fear. So then what do? You only take the tools that you got from your childhood into your adulthood. So then now guess what? Relationships that look like they're hard to manage, I'm performing and doing everything I can to remain on the romantical dean's list. Everything that I ever aspired to do was ramble. I gotta go faster. I gotta go before people. It was this level of like, who are you running from? Because it wasn't so much of trying to have something to prove. It was a little bit of that, because I needed to prove that my life mattered, that my ideas mattered, that my hand, when it touches things, doesn't just fall on deaf ears or blind eyes, that they actually see the value and they see the value in me and what I bring and my resource. So I overextended myself for friendships. And you call me 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm up 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Forget if it's a work day. You need $10 and I only got 9. I'll go find the other 4 quarters. It was this level of overexertion, overextending, and it's because I never found anyone to cover me. And when you don't have that recognition of, wait a minute, or that awareness of, wait a minute, where is this stemming from? Why is this happening? You start to live a life that just feels like the saga is continuing from childhood. The saga is continuing from your wounds. The saga is continuing because you are not self-aware enough to say, okay, so this seed has to fall on dead soil now. I can no longer nurture the thing that doesn't nurture me. And I realized something when I was doing that. I was reading about Moses. And the question that I used to ask myself was, God, why were you, after the whole burning bush thing, why were you wanting to kill him? Because that didn't make sense to me. You went through all of that. Hey, put your hand in your cloak and do this, that, and the third. And then it got to a point that you was like, nah, I'm finna kill him. And I was like, I don't have to comprehend. And God was like, I want you to go ahead and read first in Exodus 2, so you can get the reason that's initiated and was the catalyst to all this. I said, okay. So Exodus 2, reading from the NLT version, it literally says that when Moses was watching his Hebrew brothers, Hebrew men fighting, he tried to go ahead and stop them. They were like, oh, who made you ruler over us? What you going to do? Go ahead and kill us the way that you did the Egyptian the other day? And so I'm going to pick up when the guy actually says that. Exodus 2, read from the NLT version, verse 14. The man replied, who appointed you to be our prince and judge? Are you going to kill me, rebuke that name of Jesus, as you killed the Egyptian yesterday? Then Moses was afraid, thinking, everyone knows what I did. 15. And sure enough, Pharaoh heard what had happened and he tried to kill Moses. But Moses fled from Pharaoh and went to live in the land of Midian. When Moses arrived in Midian, he sat down beside a well. Okay, I get it. And so now he's like, you know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and partake and, do a little real estate, a little Airbnb, a little whatever I need to do to go ahead and build my life here. This is going to be my new home. And so now we pick up Exodus 3, verse 1. One day, Moses was tending the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian. He led the flock far into the wilderness and came to Sinai, the mountain of God. 2. There, the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a blazing fire from the middle of the bush. Moses stared in amazement. Though the bush was engulfed in flames, it didn't burn up. 3. This is amazing, Moses said to himself. Why isn't that bush burning up? I must go see it. 4. When the Lord saw Moses coming to take a closer look, God called to him from the middle of the bush, Moses, Moses! Here I am, Moses replied. 5. Do not come any closer, the Lord warned. Take off your sandals, for you are standing on holy ground. 6. I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. When Moses heard this, he covered his face because he was afraid to look at God. 7. Then the Lord told him, I have certainly seen the oppression of my people in Egypt. I have heard their cries of distress because of their harsh slave drivers. Yes, I am aware of their suffering. 8. So I have come down to rescue them from the power of the Egyptians and lead them out of Egypt into their own fertile and spacious land. It is a land flowing with milk and honey, the land where the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites now live. 9. Look, the cry of the people of Israel has reached me, and I have seen how harshly the Egyptians abuse them. 10. Now, go, for I am sending you to Pharaoh. You must lead my people Israel out of Egypt. 11. But Moses protested to God. Who am I to appear before Pharaoh? Who am I to lead the people of Israel out of Egypt? 12. God answered, I will be with you, and this is your sign that I am the one who has sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God at this very mountain. 13. But Moses protested, if I go to the people of Israel and tell them, the God of your ancestors has sent me to you, they will ask me, what is his name? Then what should I tell them? 14. God replied to Moses, I am who I am. Say this to the people of Israel, I am has sent me to you. 15. God also said to Moses, say this to the people of Israel, Yahweh, the God of your ancestors, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has sent me to you. This is my eternal name, my name to remember for all generations. Pause. So now he's like, okay, Exodus 4, very next chapter, verse 1. But Moses protested again. What if they don't believe me or listen to me? What if they say, the Lord never appeared to you? 2. Then the Lord asked him, what is that in your hand? A shepherd's staff, Moses replied. 3. Throw it down on the ground, the Lord told him. So Moses threw down the staff and it turned into a snake. Moses jumped back. 4. Then the Lord told him, reach out and grab its tail. So Moses reached out and grabbed it, and it turned back into the shepherd's staff in his hand. 5. Perform this sign, the Lord told him. Then they will believe that the Lord, the God of their ancestors, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob really has appeared to you. 6. Then the Lord said to Moses, now put your hand inside your cloak. So Moses put his hand inside his cloak, and when he took it out again, his hand was white as snow with severe skin disease. Now put your hand back into your cloak, the Lord said. So Moses put his hand back in, and when he took it out again, it was as healthy as the rest of his body. 8. The Lord said to Moses, if they do not believe you and are not convinced by the first miraculous sign, they will be convinced by the second sign. 9. And if they don't believe you or listen to you even after these 2 signs, then take some water from the Nile River and pour it out on the ground. When you do, the water from the Nile will turn to blood on the ground. 10. But Moses pleaded with the Lord, oh Lord, I'm not very good with words. I have never been, and I'm not now. Even though you have spoken to me, I get tongue-tied and my words get tangled. 11. Then the Lord asked Moses, who makes a person's mouth? Who decides whether a person speaks or do not speak? Hear or do not hear? See or do not see? Is it not I, the Lord? 12. Now go. I will be with you as you speak, and I will instruct you in what to say. 13. But Moses pleaded again, Lord, please send anyone else. 14. The Lord became angry with Moses. All right, he said, what about your brother Aaron the Levite? I know he speaks well, and look, he is on the way to meet you now. He will be delighted to see you. 15. Talk to him and put the words in his mouth. I will be with both of you as you speak, and I will instruct you both in what to do. 16. Aaron will be your spokesman to the people. He will be your mouthpiece, and you will stand in the place of God for him, telling him what to say. 17. And take your shepherd's staff with you and use it to perform the miraculous signs I have shown you. 18. So Moses went back home to Jethro, his father-in-law. Please let me return to my relatives in Egypt, Moses said. I don't even know if they are still alive. Go in peace, Jethro replied. 19. Before Moses left Midian, the Lord said to him, return to Egypt, for all those who wanted to kill you have died. 20. So Moses took his wife and his sons and put them on a donkey and headed back to the land of Egypt. In his hand, he carried the staff of God. Pause. And then when I jumped down to 24, on the way to Egypt, at a place where Moses and his family had stopped for the night, the Lord confronted him and was about to kill him. 25, but Moses' wife, Zipporah, took a flint knife and circumcised her son. She touched his feet with the foreskin and said, now you are the bridegroom of blood to me. Pause. All this time, I was thinking that God was just honestly just face value showing Moses what to do to go ahead and make it so that Pharaoh knew that he was sent by God. But then that didn't make sense to me later on when I was reading that everything that Moses was able to do, Pharaoh had magicians that were able to do the same. And God is all knowing because he's omnipresent and he's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. So he already knew that. So I now looked back on the things that he showed Moses and I said, yo, he was literally showing Moses, you're not afraid. When's the last time you saw your staff turn into a snake, sir? You haven't, right? Better question, when's the last time someone told you to touch the tail of the snake and you listened with no rebuttal? Out of all the times to have a rebuttal, you were not having a discussion with God when he was asking you to do something scary, when he was asking you to do something dangerous, when he asked you to do something that confused you. Like he literally said, what's that in your hand? Throw it down. You threw it down. You saw it was a snake. You jumped back. But then he said, reach out and grab his tail. Bible says, so Moses reached out and grabbed his tail. Okay, so you're not scared. Okay, so then what was the next thing that happened? Oh, your hand, put it in your cloak, go inside. Oh, you took it out. Skin disease, put it back in. Skin disease on. Okay, go ahead and show them that. Also, I'm going to make you to do the thing with the blood and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, so you weren't afraid. The snake showed that. You weren't confused on who sent you. Because it was never an identity thing. You tried to make it like it was an identity thing. They won't believe me. Okay, they will because I'm going to be with you. Okay, but who do I say sent me? And so he already got past the identity. He already got past all of that. And God got to the root. Because he did not prepare. Moses did not prepare to leave Midian until verse 19. It says, before Moses left Midian, the Lord said to him, return to Egypt, for all those who wanted to kill you have died. 20. So Moses took his wife and sons, put them on a donkey, and headed to the land of Egypt. In his hand, he carried the staff of God. Time out. The real issue was you was afraid of people. You were so afraid of people, you told God, choose somebody else. You were so afraid of people, you wanted more people to go with you. God said, you go. You were like, okay, I want to bring Aaron. I want to bring my sons. I want to bring my wife. I want to bring, okay, so you need to be surrounded by people, comforted by people, and you need the confirmation that the people who were trying to kill you was also like they're dead now. And so the only way God can get your obedience is if he gives you all the amenities, all the comfort, all the confirmation, all the details, all the pieces, because he literally ran down the list on what he was getting ready to do. Yo, I heard the people of Israel. I see how the Egyptians slave drivers are treating them. I know that they're being treated unfairly. I'm getting ready to bring you to a land of milk and honey. It's occupied by these particular clans at the time. But what I'm going to do, like God ran it all down, and none of that was sufficient enough. None of that was satisfying enough just to give God a yes. He had to let you know, oh, and the people that you were afraid of, they're not there no more. And that's what made you be like, okay, so now I could move. God is not pleased with that. And now I understood why he said David's a man after my own heart, because David was the only one that was able to look at a Goliath, that was able to look at a Saul, that was able to look at whatever was before him and was like, and if God is with me, can nobody else see me? What can mere people do to me? And you got to stop yourself in a place and really be like, why am I acting this way? Why am I building this way? Am I running from the fear of how I used to live at one point? Am I running from childhood? Am I running from the fact that we used to be broke? Am I running from the fact that I used to be in an abusive relationship? Am I running from the fact that I used to work at a harsh community or company? Am I running from the fact that I used to be in that circumstance and my eyes have not opened to like, yo, you're not in that circumstance no more? And no matter where God calls you to, if he's calling you back to it, if he's calling you to something that looks familiar to it, if he's calling you, then you should really have it where you're not scared no more, because in those circumstances you were there without God sending you. So now that he's sending you, he has to cover you. Now that he's sending you, he has to have a reason as to it. And you don't need all the confirmation and the amenities to be obedient. Maybe the source of your disobedience is you're afraid of people, even though you're being led by God. He said to start that business. If you really peel back the layers of your fear, are you afraid of what people are going to say, or how people are going to react, or if people may not support it? If it links back to people, that's the reason why you're not starting. We got a problem. If he told you to move to another state, another city, something where you're going to be a foreigner, which you should already be living as in this particular world. But if he told you to move, how dare you be like, but I don't know nobody. And I don't, whoa. The reason why you're not obeying is still linked to a somebody, a person, a being. Time out. Wait a minute. You got to get to a point that you're like, yo, why am I giving my no again? And not be like Moses, where you have all these different excuses when the real reason is you're afraid to go back to the people who said they wanted to see you gone. You're afraid to go back to the people who said they was looking to see you fail. You're afraid to go back to the people that actually didn't respect you low key before. So now you're afraid to go back to the people. So you're telling God no because you're afraid of the people that pushed you out of that yes. And so at this point, when are you going to go ahead and lay down your particular shepherd staff, not care about what it looks like, and just say, I'm going because God sent me? And the crazy thing about that is we try to curate things in our mind and say, we don't feel qualified. What if they don't believe me? What if and we make up all these excuses like Moses. But what I've realized, very much like Moses, is God is calling you to do what you are already doing in the place that he wants you to do it now. How do I know that? Because Exodus 3, the first verse says, one day Moses was tending the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian. He led the flock far into the wilderness and came to Sinai, the mountain of God. That sounds like what God is asking you to do with his people in Egypt. He's asking you to lead his sheep. He's asking you to lead his flock. He's asking you to lead them through the wilderness, to get to the promised land, to get to the mountain of God. He's asking you to do the very thing that you're doing for somebody else. He's asking you to join his team now. It's amazing to me how we make excuses, but we are already doing it. Maybe on a smaller scale, maybe in a different season or in a different city, but we are already doing it. And God is like, cool, now that you're killing Christians as Saul, I'm going to give you a Damascus moment so that you go ahead and take that same tenacity, take that same vengeance that you have, and I want you to use it for me now. You were doing it against me. Now I need you to do it for me. He's just asking you to do what you're already doing somewhere else. And here we are on the other side of the mountain, seeing the bush burn, hearing the sheep in the background, all that. And we're telling God, I'm okay with leading the sheep for the people, but I don't feel convinced that I should lead your sheep. He's saying start that business, and you like, is it going to be successful? Ma'am, sir, you do what you do for free anyway. You taking people's pictures anyway. You giving people advice anyway. You're doing it on the scale for people anyway. God is saying, come do it with me now. Come on my side and do it now. You doing it for the world. You making music for the world. Do it with me now. You doing all these different things. You using all your talents that I gave you. You using your talents and your gift that I gave you, and I'm now saying, can I use some of that for the purpose and the reason why I gave it to you in the first place? Really? It's all embedded in fear. And it wasn't until I had that revelation yesterday and read Moses that I was like, wow, the reason why you're telling God no, the reason why you keep dragging your foot and delaying and doing whatever, if you really were to peel back the layers, you are too connected to people. Who cares what someone else deems as successful? Who cares if no one supports? Who cares? At this point, everything that God said to do, you need to be doing it, and everything else is the contingent on him. Yo, I'm building this ark. If it rained, that's on you. If the animals come, I don't know where to get all these animals. I wasn't there when you made all them. So that's on you. I'm just doing the part that you said. Even though I never seen rain before, Big Noah was like, I'm out here in these ark streets and I'm building it. I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to do it the way that God said to do it. And that's just it. Imagine Noah not building the ark. And if we can get a little interview real quick and be like, real quick, why didn't you ever build that ark? And he was like, you don't understand. I would have looked crazy. It never rained, one, in our lifetime, right? True. Okay. And nobody else would have been on board with me. I would have been like, like the outcast, like, oh, Noah, he building an ark, okay, with your little ark. And, people would have made fun of me. And when you really get honest with yourself, you're telling God no, because you're trying to shield yourself from the commentary of his creation. That don't make sense to me. I hope it don't make no sense to you. Moses, God met you at the center of what he was calling you to do. You were literally, please get this. Let's read it again. Exodus 3, verse 1. One day, Moses was tending the flock of his father-in-law, Jethro, the priest of Midian. He led the flock far into the wilderness and came to Sinai, the mountain of God. Bruh, tend to the flock of your father, the creator, the almighty. How about you start tending to his flock? You lead and flock into wilderness anyway. Why don't you lead God's sheep through the wilderness to the land of milk and honey like he asked you to? Where did Moses later on get the tablets? The mountain. Where did Moses originally get the tablets? On the top of the mountain with God. Where did Moses see and request to see the backside of God? On the top of the mountain. Bruh, he's only calling you to a greater version of what you're already doing. And if you break free of what you built in fear, you will unlock the freedom he always intended for you to have. Everything that Moses built in Midian. Moses went to Midian single. He was leaving, what is that he strapped the donkey with? Strapped the donkey with his wife and his sons. So the wife, the sons, the sheep that he was assigned to, all the different things all of that may have looked like success on the outside. All of that may have been like, okay, very much get in the bag. All of that may have been to other people success. But what God saw is you built all this on the foundation of fear. I'm giving you the opportunity to come build with me, so that you don't have to sustain yourself anymore, so that you don't have to feel that fear anymore, so that you don't have to feel this, you got to continue to perform or continue to do whatever it is that you've been doing in order to be valuable. You're valuable because you've always been. Moses, you were so valuable. I made 2 Hebrew midwives absolutely positively go against Pharaoh. And because Pharaoh said, throw every piece of male Hebrew. If she gives birth and this baby is a male, I need you to throw him in the Nile River. And God was like, nope, not this one, because later on I'm going to have him rescue my people. Nope, not this one. So you've been valuable, whether you had sons, whether you got married, whether you had a successful business, whether you went ahead and got your credentials, whether you got on the bestsellers look for your book, whether you made whatever you wanted to make in your tax bracket, you've been valuable. But the problem now is your value was built on fear. My challenge to you, I need you to be honest with yourself. I need you to really peel back the layers of what God is asking you to do and really shine the light on the reason why you're hesitant and see if there are any shadows of people lurking in your fear. Do you see that the opinions of others, the reception of others with your particular gift or the thing that you want to do, is that the reason why you are stutter stepping when God is asking you to do something? And if you can honestly say and just cut through all the rigmarole the way that Moses was unable to do, soon as God was like, yo, I'm sending you, I wish Moses just would have went to the real reason and said, honestly, God, I'm scared. The reason why I ran here in the first place is because Pharaoh was trying to kill me, low key, rebuke that name of Jesus. But that's why I'm here now. So like, I'm a little nervous to go back knowing that they still got my picture on the on the wall talking about wanted. You understand? Like, I don't want to do that. I wish he would have got to the truth of the matter and the heart of the matter first, instead of God having to reveal it to him. To see that was the reason all along, because until God confirmed that everyone who was out to get you was actually dead, that's when it was like, all right, time to go now. So that was the reason. So you had me go through all this for no reason, and I'm waiting for you to get to the reality of the thing, and you didn't get to the reality of the thing, and it's hurtful. It's hurtful for God to hear and accept and have to acknowledge that you tell him no with full confidence, because you're not confident enough that he will protect you from the people you're afraid of. He will protect you from the opinions if he called you to do it. He will protect you from whatever. He would give you a different kind of grace where you were like, yo, in prior seasons that may have bothered me. In prior seasons that would have crumbled me. But God has put a different kind of grace on me, a different kind of anointing on me, that I can go ahead and pick up 5 smooth stones and be like Goliath. You can get these hands too. Like, I'm going to go ahead and tell you now, this is what's finna happen, sir. I'm going to run, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to chop your head off, and that's how we going to do it. And it's like, where are you getting that confidence from? From the person that actually pricked my heart to do it in the first place. Get to the truth of the matter first. Did you build all this air quote success in Midian from fear? Did you want your life to mean something? Did someone invalidate you? Did you ever feel like, yo, does my life matter? Like, and so you started to make it matter, where you were like, look at all I've done. Look all I've done. And you've been performing your entire way. And all God wants to do is just use your gifts and your talents for the world, that in the purpose that he called you to. You are sent. Don't have people drive you so far off of your lane that you get comfortable in Midian. God will allow you to rest there, but he's not going to allow it to arrest the purpose that he has for you. He'll meet you where you are. You can't stay there. He will meet you where you are. You cannot stay there. Do you understand that? All right, listen. I feel like you got what you needed. You know what these conversations are. They are life-provoking conversations that not the average person's going to have with you, but who? Your favorite homegirl. If God has led you to sow into the ministry of All Things Conversation, I have a platform you're able to do so. Patreon.com /strive, the letter N as in Nancy, inspire, strive and inspire. I feel like God is speaking to you in this moment. And I feel like it's your time to be brave. Not because you just became super strong, but because you became aware of the source of your strength. Do you understand that? All right. I'm going to go ahead and let me go. We talk later, okay? Later.